Hi, and thank you for joining me for today's process video. And today is One Sketch Three Ways, a series I do with my lovely friends Jackie and Helen, where we create a sketch or choose a sketch and then each create from it and show you the different ways that a sketch can be interpreted. So today's sketch is in the top left hand corner of your screen, and it's one designed by me, and I've designed it creating some equilateral triangles. So this is a set of stitch and trace stencils that I've created for Hey Little Magpie. They're equilateral triangles, which I find incredibly difficult to create when when trying to make triangles. I normally go for isosceles because it's just easier. So I thought I would create some stencils that you could trace around if you so chose. So these are perfect for this sketch, and I'm using all of the sizes in the set, and I've just pulled out my green and blue pack of scrap card or scrap pattern paper, and that's what I'm using to create my triangles. The photo is Amelia's friend Caitlin. They all went up to Limdam, a lovely beauty spot near us, a few weeks ago, and this is Caitlin pointing to the sign and telling us where she is. So I'm just printed the photo 4x6, and then I trimmed it down to more or less 3x4 per the sketch, and then I matted it onto some scrap white card so that it gives that lovely white border and gives a definition between the photo and the triangles, because obviously the background is green with all the trees and things, and then some of these triangles are greens and blues, so I didn't want to lose that photo in the triangles. So nearly there now, cutting these triangles out. I've chosen a different pattern paper for each of them, and then once they're down I will continue to embellish, and I've stuck to the sketch more or less as it is, adding a little more embellishing, but I've got the title where it suggests it should be, and the journaling as well, you'll see as I go through the process. I've also just realised actually that I've put the date on there as the 11th of November. It was the 11th of October, so I'll have to change that after I finished recording. So I think this is the last triangle now that I'm cutting out. And that's going to go towards the bottom there. Oh no, one more. I think I've missed one of the slightly larger triangles that goes at the bottom of the photo, so just choosing an alternative paper to cut that out of. So I've gone for colours of nature, as you can see, so greens and blues, and I think they work really nicely together. So I'm just going to go around now and stick these triangles down. So just using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive just so that I can get those situated, and then I can carry on embellishing. And my stack of scrap papers is incredibly large now, particularly the green and blue, so I'm going to have to create more layouts using those just to reduce that pile a little bit. So this sort of layout or this sort of sketch is absolutely perfect for that thing. Just combining colours to create a really nice background. And then you'll see in a minute the ephemera pieces that I'm using for this layout today are all from the colour swatch series from 49er Market with Katie Petite. So I'm using the willow and also the eucalyptus ones. They're the colours that just went really nicely with these triangles in the photo that I'm documenting. We've still got a lot of those collections in Hey Little Magpie, so go and check them out. And I know that Giselle's been working with them for her blog posts, so if you need more inspiration, go and have a look at our blog on Hey Little Magpie. And the triangle set that I've used there will be available in the shop. I'll add a link to the description box for you. So just getting that photo stuck down, and here is I think this is the willow collection, and these are the ephemera bits. So just tucking a few bits down on the left there. And I do find a little circular tab to add at the top of the photo as well, just there. Now the photo's on foam pads, so I am going to have anything that I add overlapping the photo is going to have to be added to foam pads, but that's fine. I love the different dimension that it creates when you use some foam pads on your page. So just getting those bits stuck. I know they're definitely going to stay there. I love that little sprig of leaves. It fell out of the pack when I was pulling them out. I think actually that is from the laser cut pieces, but it works really nicely just as a little embellishment there on the left hand side. So again, adding this piece, as I mentioned, to foam, just so that it's raised up to the same height as the photo. So now I'm going to go into the laser cuts from the same collection. It's Grove, yes, Grove from 49er Market. So I see this little, it's like a faux layered, faux layered piece. I really want to use that on the page, so I'm just going to tuck that at the bottom as almost as like a little shelf that the photo is going to sit on. I think that works nicely. So just seeing what else I can find. I wanted to bring in some of these butterflies. There are a lot of butterflies and leaves in these laser cuts. So I'm going to bring in this leaf piece that I've used previously. So you can see a bit's been cut off. So I'm just going to pull one of those leaves off and work out how to sit it behind that tab so that it looks more natural. So again, just adding foam to the outer edges just to raise those leaves up and create some movement, and then the middle bit is going to be glued down to the page. So while I'm doing this, please do check the description box. I'll have links to Jackie and Helen's channels, so go and check out their channels. They create lovely videos, and I'm excited to see just how they've interpreted this sketch this month. And we're having a break in December, and we'll be back again in January with a new sketch. So I hope you're enjoying and playing along. There's a Facebook group, so do go and join us there and show us what you've created. I'd love to see. So as I mentioned, there's one butterfly there. I've got a little dragonfly here that is actually going to sit on the corner of the photo in the end. It's just trees up at the top there, and I just thought it created a nice little bit of fun up there. So just adding some tiny foam pads to the wings. I do add some to that left, just where it's hanging over the edge of the photo. I think I did it off screen in the end because I was getting frustrated. I'm just looking to see if I can find any others to add. And I found a little one that's going to sit here to the left of that leaf sprig. And then I wanted a tab to hold my date. Now this is the one that I mentioned. I've put the wrong date on, so I'll just do the same again and stamp, using my roller date stamp onto some scrap white card and just stick it over the top. Nobody will know. I think this year has flown by so fast. I just wasn't thinking when I put the date down. So as I say, that will read 11th of October. And that's going down onto that tab. Just haven't added quite enough glue, so just making sure that it's well stuck down at the top there, and then I'll carry on embellishing. So there are quite a few of these really large butterflies, and I decided I wanted to add one of those to the right. I was going to add it in that big space at the bottom, but then I remembered that's where the journaling goes, so I do move it up onto that big triangle and slightly to the right, and that actually works really nicely. It sort of mimics the shape of the layout without losing that. And again, adding foam to the two wings just so that it looks like it's in flight there. I wanted to bring in one of these bows. There are quite a few bows on this collection as well, so I'm just going to add that to that bottom left-hand corner. I do have to trim off the piece on the left. It was just overhanging the edge of the layout a little bit where I wanted to put it, so I'm just cutting that off, and you wouldn't know, it still looks very balanced and very nice. So now into the eucalyptus laser cut pieces, again a 49er Market colour swatch collection, and I found some more leaves to add to the right hand side of the photo. So first of all this set, and again adding foam pads behind just so that it creates some height and dimension, and it also means that I can overlap the leaves onto the photo as well. These little Sticks 2 pads are absolutely fantastic. They just work really nicely on small bits. So there's the first one, and then I do find another one to layer on top of that, and that's going to go just there. So again, just a few foam pads and then some glue to stick it down. So just having a quick look through to see what else. I really did want a word phrase, and I found this one that says, "Let the adventure begin," which I think is just perfect. I wanted it to go at the bottom of the page, but it just wasn't working, and then I realised on the top on top of that tab would work really nicely, so that's where it sits. So adding my journaling, and it just says, Caitlin doing a fine job of pointing out where you were, just in case you didn't know. And then I've gone into my little drawer next to me to my enamel dots again. I'm on a mission to use up some more of my enamel dots, so just dotting some of the green ones about the page here. And then I'm going to come in with one of the 49er Market re-inkers from the inks, the dye inks that they brought out with Ranger. And I go in for the Rainforest one, which is a beautiful greeny blue. And I'll just water that down and add some splatters. But first of all, I wanted another trim to go across the bottom of the page here. So again, going into that eucalyptus laser cut pieces and just trimming this piece in half. And that just tucks neatly underneath that layered piece from the Grove collection. And that's just bringing that blue across the page, because it's quite dominant on the right hand side, but there's nothing to the left. So here's that re-inker, just a little bit of water on my small paintbrush. I'm covering up my photo so that I don't ruin it, and then adding splatters all the way about. And then once they're down, I'll come in with some gold watercolour paint just for that little bit of sparkle. And then off camera, I realised that I haven't added my title, so you'll see in the close-ups at the end, I do grab one of my foam titles from some Heidi Swap foam thickers and add that to the right next to the butterfly, just above the butterfly. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye.